Welcome back to day one of the regional qualifier and game 5 between Cloud9 and Gravity. And Trashy, at the beginning of the day, you said Cloud9 was going to make a run for it. Well, they're one game away from getting through the first round. That's got to feel pretty good.
I mean, my statement about Cloud9 going 9-0 is not wrong, right?
It can still be true. They just started late.
Yeah,
exactly.
They just decided to play a Mumu twice.
Right, you ignore the first 2 games, they win the next 9 in a row.
Yeah, I still
possible.
I believe it. It's the golden age.
It's the Cloud9 golden age.
7th place, squeak into it. That's the kind of golden age I know about Cloud9.
But in all seriousness, there's a lot on the line here in game 5. So, between these 2 teams, specifically because Gravity was the one who's lost most recently, these last 2 games, Freak, what are they going to do here? One last shot to get it done.
Yeah, I want to see things change up. I want to see a style difference. Now, Gravity used to have all these weird, crazy comps, things I never could have predicted before. That's still a possibility. Maybe at some point that comes through. But I think when it comes down to it, they need a composition that just team fights well. Like, they won the first 2 games by having better team fighting compositions. When it broke apart, their team fights got worse. TF, not a good team fighter, doesn't have the same target selection as the rest of his team. I mean, like, literally, Oriana would have been, like, great that game. And they probably would have had the exact team fights they wanted to, crush the front line, blow them up with barrels. I just want to see Gravity just pick 5 champs who go hit the front line and, you know, have Keen sit behind some tanks. And I think that's going to be just fine for them. Their early game is passable. Their team fighting's okay. Like, it was working before.
I think as we move into game 5 as well, it's important to note that Gravity has not been a team that can stand up to pressure very well. They've lost every playoff series they've been involved in. They were up 2-0, even when they were supposed to be the #1 seed at the end of the regular season with the easiest schedule to close out the year. They kind of choked it away and finished in 4th. This team is got to kind of stand up to the pressure better now than never if they actually want a chance of making it to Worlds, because Cloud9 has cleaned up a lot of their mistakes from the first 2 games, and it's kind of theirs to lose. Gravity's remained somewhat stagnant, and they have not shown a killer instinct whatsoever.
Trashy, last-minute advice for your Cloud9 team here.
I mean, I think Gravity probably needs some help more, but I think at this point, I think they should probably shy away from the Ashe. I feel like C9 has figured out with the double cleanse. Seems to work out well. Maybe put LTIC on a hyper carry. I mean, more hyper carry than Ashe, and then try to play around him and just kill the front line, as Freak said. I think that's the way they should look for it.
Well, there you have it. We're going to send it over to our casters to see which team advances and which team's dream of playing at Worlds ends right here.
Thank you very much, Dash. In an intense game, it will be all the way to 5 here. Both teams have been on the same side, so they know what they're getting themselves into through picks and bans. And Cloud9 is looking to repeat history here if they can go all the way, bring themselves back to Worlds. Gravity, after this, gets a little bit of revenge on Impulse if they can get this win, and I'm sure they want that from the tiebreaker and from last split.
That's true. The spring split playoffs, Gravity got knocked out first round by Impulse, so if they win, they get to play them next round. A little bit of revenge on their mind, but both teams have to focus on this last game.
They do.
See if that Azir ban comes through as the last ban for Gravity here, because everything else is still stock, standard. And it's a Maokai ban here.
So the Lulu gets put back in.
There you go.
The Azir is left up. All right. Because we usually say that Azir kind of sits above your top mid laners, and then you have your mid laner. There's a little bit of a gap there. That's for everybody, really. So this is very interesting to see that go through. Incarnation can have quite a safe mid lane game.
Yeah, it might be another victor here for Keen, though, which may be part of the bait, right? You make sure that Incarnation is not taking away your victor. He's on Azir, so you get it for yourself. And Gravity can go back to a different composition with Move.
Do it. I like to see some lead plays coming out of Move. He definitely tries to take control of the game, and that's exactly what High just did. The Braum going to be one of the first locked in if they decide to take that away. This has been Ashe Gragas consecutively for the last few games now, and it's been C9 first picking the Braum. So you see the priority here for both teams.
Yeah, first picking the Braum. Now that they have the Azir, the Braum goes over, but they go with the Lee Sin jungle here for Move.
Puts a lot of pressure on his their shoulders, or not pressure even, but has to work with the composition now. They know they're trying to get small picks depending on what they go with, and hopefully Move can facilitate a bit of that. Gragas Ultimate's working out for him, so he's just going to kick him back in.
Yeah, the last time we saw Move play Lee Sin, it was week 1 against TDK, and a victory for them. Since then, we have not seen him play Lee Sin a single time. It looks like when the going gets tough, going to lock in Lee Sin. That gives over Ashe to Sneaky.
And the Janna, you were looking for that before.
Yep. A little bit of protection there, but Janna is amazing in this composition so far with your core that you have.
Yeah.
You have an Azir, well, keep them away from you. You have an Ashe, keep them away from you. Janna is perfect for this. This is disengaged composition here. If Cloud9 make it to objectives first, they keep you out of the pits. They hit you as you're trying to come in, and that's the dream here. But look at that. That is going to be a fizz for Hanser or Keen.
Love how nonchalant that Gravity is taking this. You can see Bunny Fufu sliding back and forth between his chair and all text screen. Just kind of like, what do you want to pick? We're feeling pretty good here. We're in game 5. We got the endurance to do this. Let's keep our minds in a happy place as we enter into this grudge match here. Final picks for Cloud9. First Janna of the series coming through along with the first Azir to be played by Cloud9. As you said, they get the Ashe now. Gravity's going to be playing the Tristana, so really the AD carries swapping their champions.
This is quite interesting, too, because even though the AD carries have swapped champions, the Maokai's been banned and the Fizz has been taken away from Balls. Those are the two champions that Balls likes to flank your AD carry with. Does he have something else up his sleeve? Is he just going to go back to Gnar here and try to make plays like that? Because he doesn't have that same type of champion available to him. And it has to synergize with this core that is all about, okay, there you go, protection.
Wow.
Is the name of the game here.
They go with the Shen. I remember back in the day, there's periods of time where Balls loves Shen and Balls just hates Shen. He's like, I don't feel like playing him. I guess it's one of those times where he's going to go back onto it, and it is going to be a great pickup for the team. We finally see that Elise coming back through, and it is going to be in the hands of Hai as he goes with another different jungle champion.
Yeah, no Kha'Zix, no Shyvana, goes for the standard Elise here, and it's a champion that Hai's been practicing in solo queue a bunch. I was wondering if he was going to bring it out here today. Finally gets locked in for him, but this is a team that's all about picks and disengaging, walking backwards as we're dealing damage, and protection. So Cloud9, even though you are a kite backwards composition, you need to get forward and then start kiting back, because otherwise you're kiting nobody backwards. You have to make them come to you.
12 seconds on the clock. Just thinking about side selection in this. Gravity put themselves on a side where they have to ban Kalista the whole time. They've gone through this best of 5, banning 2 people out. We've seen this Malphite Ashe recently as well, that over in Korea. Not very easy for the Ashe if Hanser can get to where he needs to be.
Well, is this going to be a Malphite top, or is it going to be a Keen AP Malphite mid?
That's true. Fizz also flexed to the top lane. It's finally one of the first times within this series Gravity is kind of playing that mind game.
Yeah, I assume it's going to be a Malphite top, though. And just to get into the backline, to get in onto the Azir. This team wants to kite you backwards. Well, you can't really kite the unstoppable force. You have to outplay it in like one big burst. Keen, though, this Fizz matchup into the Azir is a pretty good matchup for Fizz. Once he gets to a point where Azir has to respect him around level 3 onward, you always have to watch out for the level 6. Fizz has so many tools to get in on him.
So Keen putting himself on a pretty hard carry here to see how he can do on the Fizz versus now Incarnation's Azir. The crowd is ready. We've got some dancing going on in here. Everybody's trying to stay that adrenaline pumping. You can see a sigh from above Dove there, and now it will be the final time these two teams walk off, facing off against each other. The coaches can do no more as the picks and bans are over, and this series hinges on this next game. Hit us up on Twitter, tweet at LOL Esports, use the hashtag C9win or the hashtag GVWin, and support your favorite team here coming into the North American Regionals. One is about to move on, and one about to have their world's hopes dashed here in the gauntlet. It's about to be game 5, ladies and gentlemen. Cloud9 versus Gravity. Cloud9 once again on blue, Gravity staying on red. Both teams have pretty much exhausted all strategies here coming into game 5. Let's see what they have to leave on the Rift.
One team goes home, doesn't attend Worlds, and the other one moves on to the semifinals to play Impulse. Which of these two is it going to be? And you said everybody's throwing their stuff down. We talked about how these teams were basically playing the same thing when they won. Both teams across the board, this is a unique champion for them in the series.
That's very true. Having to pull out all the stops here. Hopefully get under the skin of your opponent within that laning phase. Whatever team has been able to get the incremental, very small 1-2K gold lead has seemingly come up with the win in this series. Both teams being very calculated once they get that win and not putting themselves in a bad situation. Gravity, the deep wards once again, they finally deter from just walking into the top side of the jungle here.
And Bunny Fufu on your screen there, I believe he's the only repeat champion out of these 10 for anybody here. had a Braum earlier in the series, but oh man, everybody just
Yeah,
throwing their cards on the table saying, you know what, there's a strategy that we have to throw out there. We have to go back to what is working. The Azir freed up for Incarnation.
They almost worked through picks and bans and then took like what would be in like a blind pick. Like, what do I want to play? You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Getting the Lee Sin, the Malphite, the Fizz, things you really wouldn't see. It's just a lot of comfort that nobody's going to target.
Rush is probably watching this series because he's the next round.
Yeah.
So he's either going to play against somebody who plays Lee Sin or somebody who plays Kha'Zix.
Kha'Zix, Shyvana, Elise.
But I mean, those are like his two champions, right? He's like, I love Lee Sin,
Right,
I love
absolutely.
Kha'Zix. One of these guys is going to have to face my own.
So true. We actually haven't seen an Evelynn out of these guys, so really kind of doing their own thing in the jungle throughout the series. Now to start it again, the same start from Gravity we had last game, 4 towards the bot side as well, with High and crew, High and Ball starting on the top side of the jungle.
No lane swap here. Nope. Going in level 2 to the top laner first, so you get the camp faster. Hand it all over to High. It's a good start for him, too. He'll barely take any damage from this because the Spiderlings will tank it, so.
Nice having a Shen as well.
Oh, yeah.
Get that Vorpal Blade, get a little healing back. Never sucks. It's always good. Always good. Bit of CS for Incarnation in the mid lane as he tries to get to 2 a little bit faster, it seems. Bringing up those soldiers and clearing out minions.
Oh.
And sneaky in the bot lane. You see Lemonation hooked down to the brush a little too far. And that level 2 they get very nicely adds the damage over in favor of Gravity. Watch out for Keen here in the mid. Still, Incarnation pretty much does the same thing Gravity just did to Sneaky and Lemonation on the bot side.
Gotta watch out. Incarnation's been having a good series for himself. In the games that he was falling behind.
Ooh. That, Keen realizing definitely made a mistake there, falling down within soldier range.
Oh, I thought the
Then
mistake was
one-
giving him Azir.
This is true. This is absolutely true. I'm surprised to even see Azir in this best of 5 series get to anybody. I'm sure Keen wouldn't be getting it. Like I said earlier, with Gravity taking red each time, they've been forced on that Kalista ban, so they're kind of going through these with 2 bans, figuring out which better priority would be for those things.
Move, looking towards the mid lane. So they can put some pressure onto this Azir. Used his W, so that's the time to go. He's not going to have his escape. High on the other side. Oh, almost.
That would have been big damage
Gonna
on
get
the
the
move.
damage,
They're going to keep going, actually. High repels in, gets a few auto attacks on. Volatile Spider. It's like Move tries to go in and take the damage on that one. Successfully does so. All of this, however, is really helping out Incarnation every so often, getting another CS in the lead here, just on the 2nd or 3rd minion wave.
Yeah, if you can repel in and get that damage with no retaliation, that just sets up your mid laner even more. You get another potion out of the guy. He has to back a little earlier. So it's just these tiny little things that start adding up. Now he can't even contest minions at this point. If he does, he'll lose another chunk of his HP like that. Another visit, though, but High's already here. High is just camping the mid lane. And when we saw that big turnaround for Incarnation in the last few games in the split, it's when High came in and Incarnation started getting more resources, more attention.
Oh, the level 2 was 1 down here, but not anymore, it seems. Sneaky Lemonation fighting back, and to say, go on what you were just saying, when we saw that happen as well in the previous game, Bunny Fufu would have been roaming mid by now. He would have been giving pressure to Keen. Not something they have yet. So that roam for High to the mid lane is really putting Incarnation ahead right now. Or 29-17.
Oh, what is just going out?
2v2ing mid lane here. We have a new lane coming in here to game 5. I don't think High wants to leave as long as Move there, and there's really no reason. Soaking up experience on both sides.
It's kind of been the theme of the season, of the series, though. Save
Right.
for game 1. Move spent a lot of time bottom lane. Now he's been spending a lot of time mid lane, and they're adapting to that. High is just getting his counter gank on and getting some pressure onto Keen, trying to force him out of lane. Make sure Incarnation has a good game. Oh!
Incarnation, I bet you the last 2 games, he's like, one of these days I'm going to run not a safety summoner spell. I'm going to get an Ignite kill. So close. Move actually could go down here. I don't even think the Q connected. That connected with a Spider, so he doesn't have much if he even wants to go back in. I think he just got the cripple down, and High was able to toy with them. So Keen's already been forced to back down in CS, and he only comes back with another Doran's ring to pretty much sustain all of this beating that he's been taking so far. Incarnation with the Fiendish Codex. Very nice clip for him to be farming at.
I'm a little surprised that he went for the Fiendish into another Doran's. And so he has no consumables up against the 2 potions and the 3 flask charges from Keen. So Keen has a little bit of pressure in his lane over time. You'll start to see that manifest itself.
It's a good point. Incarnation can play it well if he doesn't get attacked, right? As long as you don't get hit.
All the damage is going to stick.
Sounds easy. Not as easy to make happen.
Yep. Keen basically gets to throw his life pool at Incarnation and trade it over and over again and whittle him down.
Not something you really consider. Like throw an ultimate out and then have move come in and be the finisher as well on that one.
Oh man, that potion advantage.
It's gonna get him. Look at that potion disrespect. Oh, bottom lane, however, is actually getting a very big lead along with Incarnation's mid lane. Sneaky Elimination, even though they got hit out at level 2. Very nice lead there of 10 CS in the bot lane.
Coming about.
As well as Haunter from that top side. I don't think he's going to fall too far through. Move knew that it was going to be a little too scary there. And they make their way out. Not a problem for him. Move able to now get himself in the face of High. This is something we saw High doing repeatedly for the past few games as Move was trying to gank lanes. Now he's back to a bit more invading.
And the rookie of the split definitely has his work cut out for him against
He
a
does.
veteran. Old school guy of the jungle. Seems to still have it right now from High side. Oh, gotta watch out though. Elimination off on the side. It is a Janna.
Much less roam by Bunny Fufu this game. You can see Elimination and Cloud9 first off to it and really getting an advantage because of it. Pressure to the mid here. Don't think they should get too much damage on the turret. Maybe they do decide to stay.
They just have such a good lead here in the mid lane. Up 22 CS already at almost 8 minutes. They're just putting so much into Incarnation here, and it's paying off.
They have more information this game than they've really had any game. Move keeps showing himself mid. High has always been free to make moves off of that in previous games. You'd see him instantly go for more camps. And this time, High is using all that info to shut down anything Gravity's doing. The lanes are doing perfect. Why not hang out in mid?
Yeah, I talk about potion advantage. Keen doesn't get anything out of that. He's got nothing. He burned through all of them. Incarnation was scot-free with just a Doran's Ring. Ended up playing out perfectly for him. He took no damage in the time that he had just gone.
Well, Cloud9 saw that he had some to share. If you have some to share, you bring a party.
Yeah.
Cloud9 just...
He brought some for everyone. You bought
wanted to
potions for everyone, Keen?
It does not look like Gravity is having any sort of advantage that they got in the early games of the series in games 1 and 2. Game 3 as well, the one they lost to Cloud9 first. They still had a bit of a lead towards that early part of the game, but only by a few hundred.
This just looks like Move and
Wow.
Keen are getting dismantled.
Absolutely.
This early game. Talk about High being on a higher pressure early game jungler. Well, he's definitely performing this game.
It shows in his CS as well. Pressure to champions instead of the minions. He'd be up maybe 5-10 CS at this point in the previous 2 games. Now he's actually below Move, but still making an impact.
Incarnation as well.
Yeah.
Only
Able
member
to
of the
switch things
Cloud9.
up and adapt through the 5th game. Pretty great.
It's true. Cloud9, Incarnation is the only member of the squad that hasn't been to Worlds. And he's pulling his weight in this series so far.
It was questionable for the first few games. We saw what that pressure would do to him. But you are absolutely correct. Really pulling out strong. Again, I don't know why he has his ear in the 5th game. That's for sure. Very interesting leave up. Maybe Keen thought he had the counter of what was going to happen, or they just put more focus on. Chum the Waters
Kick
does
back.
hit. There's the kickback they were looking for. Emperor's Divide completely disrupts Move, however. He
That's
can't
what
get
he
back in. High is there, no mana, but still staying in Spider form. Could finish it off. Flashes in with the red buff as well to keep Move in range. And High pushes Key now. Plays around the board once again, but it's finally first blood.
This duo, the synergy between Incarnation and High seems much higher than Move and Keen at the moment. They are just getting outplayed, outpressured in the jungle. And all High has to do is throw volatile Spiderlings, poke them out. And Keen is getting poked out as well, just from Incarnation.
High has been in the mid lane in just different capacities every time. Previously, he would walk in, help clear, you're good, you can back. This game, it's completely been for ganks. They are definitely switching up the strategy throughout the series here. Balls now in the top lane, doing very well, 94 to 83, and definitely going to be able to provide some tank in that fight as he gets a push with the Sunfire cape on, or I should say Bombi Cinder right now. They're going to be able to get more pressure on top.
Even with the pressure that Keen would be able to exert in a theoretical sense onto Incarnation's Azir, you still have Shen. You still have Shen Ultimate to back you up. This Fizz is going to have a miserable time, not just because he's behind, but because Shen stops you from 100 to 0-ing people.
That's a really good point. I haven't even seen that be stopped yet.
And then there's Janna too, just another shield on top of everything.
going to be hard to stick to anything on the back line for Cloud9. Or I should say for Gravity on Cloud9.
A little too far forward.
That's going to be a Winter's proc. No, they don't get a final shot on. One more would have added quite a bit of damage, actually, but they do not decide to. Would have maybe taken too much of their own as Incarnation picks up the blue. Look for that again in just a few minutes, but we'll see what he can do here in the mid lane. Does not have a turret to push anymore, so will he start to roam? Put some forward wards down. Looks like he's got 2 in the inventory to use up.
He's 1,000 gold up at 12 minutes.
On Keen?
Over Keen.
Jeez.
Incarnation is 1,000 gold up. He has the Stinger completed, Fiendish Codex, and Boots. Fiendish Codex, the idol. And overall, they're 2.8 thousand gold up at 12 minutes. Cloud9 have a good foothold in this game at the moment.
Yeah.
Watch out, though. He doesn't have summoner spells. He does have ways out. Okay. And that's it. Move is just continuing to go mid lane over and over and over again. Ganking a Janna would be difficult.
30 CS down on Keen, which is another thing I was just thinking about is the Victor was completely passed up in this while still being open. Something that would have such an easy time clearing waves back at an Azir, but now he's forced to walk in and try to get lasered in the face.
Yeah, that's usually the push and pull that we see is somebody picks Azir, the other person picks Victor for wave clear, and also they can also blow up an Azir mid-late game. The problem is the range disparity. Azir's range compared to all other mid laners, while still having defensive tools, is immense. Like even looking at Xerath, Xerath has no way to gap close away, or cap close away, create a gap, have a move block away.
Close that gap with further space.
There you go.
We'll see where they decide to go from here. The sight wards are out, so wherever they do decide to go will be a bit safer. It doesn't look like anybody's had the courage to get those wards past the river just yet, though. You can see Cloud9's placed a kind of a turret ward in the mid lane to make sure they can see if Keen's
look for money.
And forcing. Did not expect that to happen as I look down at the mini-map, but Cloud9 is giving zero regard to their own safety right now. A little to boot play there for the Monsoon of Lemon Nation. Move wouldn't have done much, but he was just trying to add some more damage on. This turret goes down. High getting that gold.
And I think High has been a part of every turret kill, every turret takedown on the map. He pressured out mid, realized that was the place where they were going to get their little advantage. That's the dagger that they put in, and now he's going to other lanes to twist it. Went top, went bottom, got all those turrets. Even though they don't have the ward coverage to actually justify pushing up extremely far because they don't have coverage of the jungle right at the moment on the Gravity side, Cloud9 are in a great position to start running away with the game and getting all of these dragons. So I talked about this composition is about kiting backwards because they don't have too many forms of engage. They do have the arrow, they do have Shen, Flash, Taunt, and a Cocoon, but these are all pick things. But what this team wants to do is be stronger than you, kite backwards, because you want to contest them at a Dragon or contest them at a Baron, or else they get it.
Right. Hopefully, Altec's back in time. He's got about 2,300 gold to spend after dropping that turret. It looks like the team will be able to hold off Dragon for now. Lemon Nation's going to go ahead and set up Vision for Cloud9's side. But now coming back with the Infinity Edge and a few potions, Altec feeling much stronger. Sneaky also finished his Infinity Edge as well. But you see Lemon Nation starting that Siege Harbinger already, has a Wish Shroud on. So that'll be a very big spike for them once it's finished. A lot of wards finally placed in. I said nobody had courage to place the deep wards yet, but Cloud9 has littered the side of Gravity here. They can see him coming in.
Global still available for Balls. Balls able to continue to push up the top lane. He knows he's safe because everybody is walking towards the Dragon.
Peel off, top side, teleports up on both. This also means that Balls can stand united down and then teleport back up if the play goes their way. Very weird movement by Move himself. Gets himself into a good spot, but he's not seen here, and he may be able to route the end of the fight. They have good engage on the side of Gravity that they see, but Move could now get to Sneaky immediately. He didn't expect him to be there. Sneaky gets kicked in, but away actually from the team of Gravity. Stand United comes through, and Cloud9 is able to pick up priority targets here. Now into Keen, dives through the team and cannot get a kill. The flash forward from Incarnation, and he Soldier arises to get a quick kill down onto Move. Nicely done, and they are going to keep moving on.
Cloud9 were down 0-2 in this series. If they go for the reverse sweep, that's going to be insane to keep their world stream alive.
That doesn't happen.
They can't.
Nobody reverse
Oh, no, it does happen. It happens all the time.
And you know what is worse about the reverse sweep is being the team it's happening to, because you almost have that thought in your mind, this isn't happening. And then each fight that weighs that much more, and you hesitate, you second guess, things become very tough. It's really hard to play from behind, especially under this much pressure. Cloud9's been in these playoff situations before, I should say, playoff gauntlet situations to get their position. Usually they're sitting at the top of the list a lot more. So this one they have to fight for a lot more.
It's true. This team does not want to miss out on their 3rd consecutive Worlds appearance.
See how this one started. It was very, I was thinking Move was going to have a huge play here, but the team, I don't think was expecting Sneaky to fly in, flash out.
They kept going for that play, though. They didn't have to continue that teleport.
Almost.
Keen had Playful Trickster afterwards.
Yeah.
He was able to gap or create space afterwards. Goes back in, and then Move. Taken out there at the end. And they did not have to go for that afterwards. The arrow landed, but Keen would have actually been all fine.
Yeah. I don't know how fine that Gravity's going to be after that. 4-0 now. 0 kills were picked up by Gravity. They couldn't answer with anything. All they have is the bottom turret that Altec grabbed before that fight. And Cloud9 even came up with a resulting dragon after the skirmish. So looking very good, getting a bit more gold and stats from that dragon. We're going to see how they keep going. Lemon Nation very close to having that Zeke's done with another 500-600 gold in his inventory.
It's crazy how this best of 5 has actually pretty much been the story of Gravity's season. That arrow.
There's a lot of CC there. He did have a target to go to, can kind of put some damage onto Lemon Nation. I don't know if they keep focusing this. They have no vision that follows into the jungle, so they're going kind of deep here. And also, Move is coming around with Incarnation, so they're calling that, and they definitely need to assess the fight.
Yeah, Keen pushing mid, but at the same time, you have Balls pushing the bottom lane.
Yep.
Like I was saying, Gravity, this best of 5 is pretty much a representation of their entire season. They're up, they're on top of
down.
it, they're 2-0.
Yeah.
They're ready to keep going through. Hey, they're in first place in the regular split, and then things collapse.
Right.
Move, Keen, they don't seem on point, and then you see it there in these last few games. This game especially, Move has been exploited. Keen's pick in the mid lane not working out for him despite having counter pick, and they're punished for it.
Definitely a bit of figuring out from Cloud9 as well. We saw Gravity run the same type of composition, which is kind of a telegraph, right? Yeah, the fights are going to be the same when you're fighting a Gnar. You got to go around the bar. But when you have a Gragas as well trying to displace you, you don't want to approach that. And you see Cloud9 over these last few games kind of just figure out the composition they're fighting against. And I guess Gravity this time said, we can't do that. We can't be read like an open book. Let's switch up a lot. And I think may have switched up too much at this point. These champions have worked for them before, but under such stress at Cloud9 with a 2-game lead, very tricky to kind of pull that out right now, get it to work.
It's true, and they haven't been able to get any more turrets after those 2 with the Tristana from Altec. They're looking for more advantages or ways to get back in this game. They're down 5,000 gold at 20 minutes.
Well, it makes it even harder when you reach turrets, right? Where's your wave clear, really? Keen can kind of drop on, sit on a wave, but that's it. That's pretty much C9's way of baiting out a fight. You see spawning on the left side. Nothing they have to go for, but could definitely put Gravity in a bad situation. Or even themselves. You know, there's a wombo combo to be had by Gravity here still. We kind of talk about them almost being out of the game, but they're not. Still very much in it. They just have to kind of hit everything perfectly here. This is almost like what Cloud9 tried to do with the big Amumu all stacked onto something, All of those things need to hit for Gravity to make it work.
Get in there.
There's a few. This could be the pickoffs that they need, but here's the Shen ultimate. They could actually go down here. Bunny Fufu, one more shot. Ball's able to get in with the Vorpal Blade and take him down. He's going to be tanky for a bit, but you don't have Incarnation. You don't have High for quite some time. Haunter and the rest of the team focusing very hard. Keen picks up a kill, but he's low and could be cleaned up here in the fight. High 1v1 moves, 1v1 move right in front of the Raptor pit. That's Keen going down. We just saw how much resource it took for him to get a kill onto Balls, and now High keeps going with the team. This sounds just like the Baron call they had previously. Keep going up, keep going up. Now onto Haunter. They're going to take him down. There's no waves to be pushed here, so we'll see how Cloud9 cleans up after this.
Cloud9 can get whatever they want right now. They have the TP available, but they don't have mana bars too high. They could actually still attempt the Baron with the Azir, but they're going to back off of it. It's too risky.
Dangerous.
It's still only 21 minutes in the game. Nobody really has as much armor unless you get Balls in there with the TP. Oh man, Balls looks like he's going for the early Trinity Force as well. He wants that split push power. That'll definitely free them up on the side lanes.
Yep.
Give them a lot of pressure. Malphite can't stand up to that.
Seeing how these kills panned out. See it one more time. This actually leaves Cloud9. Everybody's getting a few kills here. It's going to be some good cash for Gravity to pick up if they can get a nice fight up here.
Yep, the arrow and then the exhaust coming down onto Altec saves Lemonation. They go on to Balls. They put a lot of resources into him, and nobody can really re-engage on the side of Cloud9 there.
That was
Keen,
a great
though,
jump.
ends up getting Balls. And here's the part that I don't really understand. Move is already poked out of the fight. They start going towards the right side on bottom. Answer looks like he's trying to peel for Incarnation, but because of that, it actually costs Keen and Answer's lives.
Should be all right.
Just gotta let him go.
Yeah. You just gotta back off. It's very hard though, especially in these intense moments. Tense and intense. Make a split decision, and sometimes it just does not go your way. 7 of those have gone the way of Cloud9 so far, 22.5 minutes into the game, as well as the laning phase. Balls taking down Poncer there, already looking at a 20-25 CS lead. About a 30 CS lead and more for Incarnation in the mid lane, his best of the series so far. And Sneaky has kept himself strong on that Ashe after playing Trist after Trist game. Both AD carries have actually swapped each other's champions this game, and Altec is not finding the same results on Tristana. Can't get those Ashe arrows in the team has been relying on for engages.
Yeah, you saw the bottom lane being back and forth. He was trying to get explosive charges to find some type of advantage.
Right.
Elimination's shield constantly. And this is not a Janna that was going to roam very frequently, but it kept Bunny Fufu in lane, which was the objective of this bottom lane. Stop Bunny Fufu from roaming and just make it a 2-on-2 skirmish mid lane over and over again, because they kept winning it. Incarnation created his own advantage over Keen just by outplaying him and poking him over and over again. You can see that manifest in the Nashor's Tooth and the Rylai's Crystal Scepter already completed for Incarnation.
2 minutes ago as well, after that fight in the top lane that we saw extend, Lemonation finished the Zeeks, so that's even bigger now for Sneaky. We saw that a lot for Altec, but it wasn't built up for Altec when he had Ashe. Sneak is being used a lot differently here in the composition of Cloud9. But still the arrow.
It's true.
You never want to give that up. 24 minutes and a 6,000 gold lead is what Cloud9 is looking at. As we said, gold leads have not been given up this game if they reach past that certain point of pretty much just 1,000. And this is the biggest one we've had throughout the series. Keen trying to put down forward wards and keep the team in the game. Hopefully they can get a pick onto somebody here. They still have a composition that can work like that.
Yeah, they can still get the picks off.
This may be one.
Before, gets up Sneaky.
Hey.
Oh, nice flash.
Oh no, the Shen! That's gonna be the last bit of damage. Keen again using all resources to try and get a kill, and he is completely thwarted by the quick fingers of Balls, and Sneaky calling for the help.
Talking about it earlier, it is a nightmare for Shen, or for Fizz,
Fizz, you
when
can't
you
zero.
have to go to against a Shen and a Janna, and they both showed up.
Oh, that's just the nightmare. Was that a taunt? Did he taunt out so he actually got shot? He was trying to go for a jump
Incarnation's coming in
taunt.
from the side.
Everything worked out in his favor anyways. Here comes Incarnation. They should be able to drop Bunny Fufu. Altec says, thank you, Valiant Sir, for allowing me to get out safely. And Cloud9 is the one to start getting picks, even though Gravity was moving their wards forward. Unfortunate.
Yeah, you can't 100-0 somebody at any point on the map as this Fizz, and you saw right there the global down from Balls, and then he globals back up to the top lane for another kill. This Shen working out majorly well for them. Move though, off on the side.
That's that global
If he
presence
steals
they
this
wanted.
Baron, it gets Gravity back in the game, but they are doing a great
Still
job.
have Chum the
off
Waters
side.
on Keen. It could be
You have
disruptive
to go
coming in
for
from
it.
the right. Oh, you're not going to be able to smite too much if you're not at the draw. Baron Pit kicked out, back over Emperor's Divide. Haunter is trying to do a little bit to help out his teammates. A very big I think I can situation from Gravity. They think they
don't
can
have the
keep
damage.
fighting. Are they correct though? Altec with great shots on the outside as High tries to gun down for him, and he forces Altec over the wall. That means the DPS cannot follow through still. And again, well cordoned off and fought by Cloud9 in a tight spot.
Baron to Cloud9, 12-1 in kills. They are on match point to move on to the semifinals, get one step closer for their 3rd consecutive appearance at Worlds. Cloud9 are in the driver's seat, 10K gold up right now. Arrow on down tech, he
That's
clipped
going
too
to be
early.
the kill. That's all. Yeah, the cocoon actually hit Bunny Fufu. I wasn't sure at first due to the overlap of the champions, but he does go down. It's still a resulting kill, and Altec actually hasn't left from the first engage that he was saved from by Bunny Fufu. That was Bunny Fufu coming up again to die, saving him. Unfortunate here. Cloud9 is making everything work, fortunately, in their favor.
Cloud9, Incarnation, it all started with this Catalyst in the mid lane, and now everybody is grouping up around him. And you can see he
this
keeps him off on the
initial
side.
push-off.
He gets right here, and then he sections this off perfectly.
So if you want Baron,
run past.
you do
Haunter
not get
can't
Baron.
even get there. And they don't have the damage here just yet. Altec will come in a second. They try to blow up Incarnation, but he has barrier. He's fine. Haunter ultis onto the side, and they don't have the damage there just yet. Even if they were there, Sneaky has Zeeks. They have all these things going in Cloud9's favor. They just have a massive gold advantage that is now ballooned to 12,000 gold off of that little start.
And you see the little plays from Haunter there at the end, flashing to get a Q kill or flashing to get those last kills. They are so hungry for something. Everything has been taken away from them, just inches away from happening. 13-1, and they've actually had Cloud9 blinking red health bars a lot, but Cloud9 is eking their way out of these fights, and that is one of the hardest ways to fight, because you always think you have that kill and then take one step too far. Cloud9 has been using that to a great advantage here. High seems to be a little too far out on this one, but look what Cloud9 is doing to the base while they're trying to fight High. He's still alive from the Stand United of Balls and could still be alive after this fight. Gets taken down by the ultimate of Haunter in the end. That cannot be used for a full group fight. Balls can't even be taken down. Soldiers over the wall as Incarnation continues the fight. Lemon Nation's going salami on the turret for the sneaky triple kill, and Cloud9 is now running over Gravity to the Nexus.
They'll get at least 2 inhibitors here. They'll take down this turret, they'll get this one, and then there's one open in the mid lane already. They might even be able to push for more. We'll have to see here. Both times in this game, you get an advantage, you snowball it. People have just taken the Nexus flat out, but they're going to get 2 inhibs, and they're going to back off.
What a crazy series of games, Irene. Still super fast as well. When the team has a lead, they're doing something with it. We've had just over 30 average, or 30 plus average mid-games. Ridiculous, especially for Gauntlet to come in here where you're seeing both teams are kind of playing to not lose. These guys are just going at it.
This fight started off, they all jump onto him, but once again, you can't blow him up. Shen comes through, he repels. Keen doesn't even have the damage because he's behind. Arrow
Nice
block
block
by Bunny was nice, but at the same time, he's still stunned, and Move gets chunked out by Incarnation, and the fact that Zeeks was on at that moment.
It takes them so long just to take down one of the Cloud9 members at this point.
Oh yeah, they just don't have the damage output.
Right.
This is a 2-threat composition. It is all Keen, and it is all Altec. And Keen is 1 and 5.
Imagine if you had a Chaos Storm and a Victor Laser to throw through that choke right there. That would have been painful. But we can all imagine and dream. It's okay.
Why do you do this to us, Riv? It could have been so good. He's down 75 CS in the mid lane.
It just was not Keen's game. And you know what?
Balls went over the wall.
High and Incarnation
And
made
he's
sure that was happening. Yeah, he's really tanky. Just look how tanky he is. Takes about every ultimate / skill in the reels coming out from Gravity, and they're still able to take him down. A double kill coming in for Sneaky. That's a kill already for Incarnation on the fight as High picks one up for himself. Everybody's getting their hands in this one.
They're gonna go for game.
Haunter is going to be back in the mid lane. He's not going to be able to help this one. Cloud9 looks to be going for the win here. Push themselves on to face Impulse as well in the gauntlet, and they are able to come back from the 2-0, or I should say 0-2 that Gravity put them in, to go 3-2 versus Gravity in the first gauntlet game of the North American Summer Split. Cloud9 are moving on to take on Impulse.
All split long, people have been asking, are Cloud9 back? It's a different Cloud9, and now, in the regional qualifier, we are seeing glimpses of Cloud9, and they are almost completely back to form here.
Sighs of happiness from Cloud9, and they had to be earned after the first few games. It was looking very, very grim. The picks to come out and the shots to be called, really bringing them to victory here. That Kha'Zix game in the mid lane, a seer for the 5th game, Still unsure how that got through.
Yeah.
But it got through, and you could see that guy wasn't there all game. And you saw how dominant the game was when Azir wasn't in it.
Yeah, Azir is just so hard to handle, and all mid laners are practicing him.
Absolutely.
Incarnation, there was a reason that was banned the first 4 games, and that they first pick it when it's left up. No hesitation on that pick as well.
Nope, they said have the Braum, take it. We wanted that as long as that wasn't up. The bans switched as well. A bit of the Lulu switching over. Didn't see the Elise till the last series. Cloud9 was kind of pulling out their new strategies and saying, we may not have more, we may not, but they did. They still had picks that they could go for.
That was one of those situations where you look at Gravity's pick and ban, you look at Gravity in the game, and you have to sit there and go, it looks like they outfought themselves. That they were fighting themselves in the champions, like saying, okay, you know, we need to ban something else. It's not working out. Let's just drop the Azir, when the Azir ban was really working for them. And then in the game, you saw it all throughout the laning phase, that Azir was something you should not have let through.
Nope. Actually, let's see how all of that impacted Azir as well. Let's bring up this 15-minute mid-lane replay. This is really where the game kind of opened up for Cloud9. They were pretty much able to take the fight after this. And you'll see right here on your screen, High setting up. They were getting ready to clear something, but just push up into Gravity after this.
Yeah, the arrow onto Keen. He still had Playful Trickster, and then he uses it immediately afterwards. You see him flop away, and then it's like, oh, we are actually fighting. Hauntzer ulties the backline onto Sneaky, but then they immediately turn onto him, and Incarnation pushes people into the wall, making sure that they get off of Sneaky. And look at Sneaky's position now. How did he get there? He got all the way to the left side. He's completely out of harm's way. They pick him up, and then Incarnation playing the backline perfectly. When we were seeing him play Azir earlier in the split, he was not setting up fights appropriately. He was not having his soldiers up. And in these fights, it was definitely showing a mastery of that champion.
Looking at the Gravity composition again, you look at it and you're like, this is going to be great. Malphite jumps in. You have Fizz to jump in as well. When the fight gets too chaotic for the other team, Tristana can jump in and keep picking up kills. But the whole time, they all looked at jumping into a group of soldiers that were already in the middle of the fight. And then the disruption of, you saw the Malphite pop up and then move kicking, the team really wasn't ready for that. Keen was like, oh, there's Ashe, and instantly Sneaky flashed away. It was very disruptive there for how they wanted to use it. Like we said, they had the Wombo combo, and it sounds great, but it looks great on paper. It's just hard to do.
Yeah, it's very hard to do, and they shut down Keen in the laning phase with the Azir, and then the fact they had Shen, Janna combined with it, he's never going to get a kill outside the laning phase. If you don't do well in lane, which they wanted him to, they put so much into having Keen do well, he was shut down by Incarnation and High side by side, which made a very devastating duo here.
Yeah, it was a much different game to see High in the mid lane a lot more this time along, shutting down move, knowing where he is, and making the right calls. And as we were talking about him, Incarnation really did stand out today and claimed our Player of the Series honor. He had some clutch plays on Victor and Azir to help Cloud9 successfully pull off the reverse sweep and keep their shot at a miracle run alive.
It could still be Cloud9 wins, Cloud 9-0 from here on out. The first 2 games, maybe they were washed like Trashy was saying, but Incarnation's performance in all 5 of these games was actually spot on. You saw those last 2 games, the Orianna, the Victor, and the Azir here for him in those last 3 games.
Yeah.
Amazing play across the board. When he was blowing up Keen's Victor, then he got the Victor himself. And then just that Azir abuse in the mid lane. This guy has definitely stepped up his game, and we hearing Jat talk about it, and we were hearing myself, I guess, talk about it at the start of the day, where this guy, he had a really rough start to the season. He was not the guy that everybody thought he was going to be coming straight out of solo queue. But then after some time, he's been refined. He has some of the highest CS differential at 10 out of all mid laners in the league, and he's definitely turning into a different type of mid laner here in the NALCS.
Well, we'll see how Cloud9 does as they move on. Like we said, they're facing off against Impulse, but right now we're going to toss it over to the analyst desk to hear from Cloud9's shot caller, as well as our Player of the Series.
That's right, Riv. I am here with High and Incarnation. Gentlemen, congratulations, first of all, on a hard-fought 3-2 reverse sweep victory. So High, coming to you right off the bat. This is the first step in a long road here down the gauntlet. How does it feel to come away with the win?
Well, definitely better than losing. You know, no one likes losing. Winning's much better. We're writing a story, you know. Start the games off 0-2, give them hope, and then crush them after, hopefully.
Well, you know, that conflicted with Trashy's story. He had written the story of a 9-0 C9 run through the gauntlet. You guys definitely gave him a bit of a heart attack there with the first two losses. But you did pull it out. And Incarnation, I have to come to you as one of the less experienced players on the team. Going into a best-of-5 series, starting down 0-2, What were the team discussions like, and how was the team helpful to you in making sure that you had the proper mindset that you could come back and win 3 in a row?
I mean, we always had the idea that we could come back. I felt really comfortable still. We were just playing some different team comps than usual, the first 2. And then we went back to a more like comfort picks, and it just went much smoother from then on.
Give me some insight into that. You guys did run some very interesting compositions. You had quite a few champions that we don't normally see out on the LCS stage. Was this all just from success in scrims, or essentially, what's the impetus in the team for you branching out to these champions?
We've played those champions a lot in scrims, and we have had a lot of success with it in scrims, I would say. But the thing was, scrims are very different because there's usually a lot more kills going on in scrims. And then, yeah, we just didn't get those kills early on, so it was much harder than we anticipated.
Now, Hai, you specifically, along the same line of questioning with your champion pool, moving back into the jungle role from way back when, Amumu, Shyvana, Kha'Zix, these are 3 champions that almost no other jungler in the world plays right now. Why do you latch on to those 3 specifically as opposed to conforming to the standard meta?
Well, I want to say we did really well with Amumu and scrims. Okay. I think our team comp was unideal with Amumu. I'd like ulti people, but no one would die because, we didn't have damage or we were too behind, one or the other. But I swear he's good. And then Shyvana and Kha'Zix, I'm just kind of like good at Shyvana and Kha'Zix. I've always played Kha'Zix when I was a mid laner. And there's like this guy in like High Challenger, Kha'Zix solo player. He's like killing kids all the time. I'm like, this has got to be pretty good.
He's got like 400 Kha'Zix games and 1 Rengar game or something like
so
that.
It's like, it has to be good if there's someone that far up, And like I played it, worked out pretty well. And it's like a good cheese pick, if you're 0-2 or something like that, or 1-2, you can try something new.
Yeah. You mentioned your stint in the mid lane, which obviously everyone's very aware of, but I'm curious to know what that dynamic is like between the two of you, being the current mid laner and then having, somewhat of a mentor, a person who has very experienced in the mid lane, but playing another role on the team. Has that, helped you grow tremendously, this split?
Yeah, I would say it helps me a lot having Hai as a jungler, because he used to be a mid laner, so he knows like what I need and how to help me in certain situations. So it definitely makes it a lot easier for me to play.
I mean, it definitely shows, as you are or were made aware while you're getting mic'd up, that you were awarded Player of the Series. I have to imagine, too, that now if we look forward to the next best-of-5 series, that gives you a lot of confidence as an individual going into matchups against Gate and following with Phoenix.
Yeah, I'm not really afraid of playing against anyone. So, but yeah, it definitely helps that we won, and it's just, yeah.
Well, yeah, it always helps that you win. That's at least what gets you to the next game, that's for sure. Now, something that we were touching on, earlier in the day is the fact that the Gauntlet is a new format, High, where you're going to have to play multiple best-of-5 series in a row, and you did have to play the full 5 games today, somewhat stressful. What about the fatigue factor? Do you feel like it's ever going to come into play, or is the adrenaline going to be enough to carry you through?
Well, previously, our team was better, so we could just, get into Worlds right away from first or second. So I think it's a good thing for us that we're in the Gauntlet. It allows us to build as a team and basically learn how to play a best-of-5 since we haven't had the opportunity to do that yet with the current roster. And if we can't beat Team Liquid and Tip, I don't even want to go to Worlds anyway, because I would just go there and get smacked. So if we can't beat these teams, then there's no reason we should be at Worlds. So I want to prove that our team is good and prove that we deserve to be there. And what better way than that to do 3 best-of-5s in a row? So
can't argue with that logic. Now, specifically looking at the next 2 best-of-5s, Incarnation, you have had the opportunity after watching the playoffs to see both of these teams play a fair number of games. Do you feel like the team is equipped with enough information that you can go into these series and know exactly what weaknesses to attack?
Yeah, I definitely feel like we will be prepared for these games. We had a tough game today, but I'm pretty sure it can't be much harder than it was today. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think we'll do fine.
All right, I like to hear that. Well, gentlemen, again, congratulations on the victory today. Best of luck tomorrow as you face off against Team Impulse. Right now, we're going to throw it back over to our casters for some final thoughts on that series.
Thank you very much, Dash, and congratulations once again on the win to Hai and Incarnation. A fantastic played game, and Incarnation very sure of himself there. Not really afraid of anybody, ready to face off and feel that they can do better. And I'm always hesitant to hear, not hesitant, but always kind of wary when I hear people say they're not afraid of anybody, because sometimes that means you get under your skin as a player, and you kind of you need to be afraid of yourself because you're very hard on yourself, not about other people.
Okay.
It's kind of like an inner thing.
Yeah, maybe he just respects a lot of people. He's
That
not
too.
afraid of them. Don't be
That
afraid of
too.
them. Maybe you respect them. But coming into the next week for him, or tomorrow actually.
Tomorrow,
it's not even a week.
back
It's
to
tomorrow.
back.
He's back here tomorrow to play TIP, Gate versus Incarnation. Now, it's not just Gate versus Incarnation in that matchup. We've seen Gate get a little bit better over time. We'll see how these guys match up against each other, considering it's both their first splits in the LCS.
Yep.
But High alongside Incarnation with Rush alongside Gate. We saw the High Incarnation work out today in the mid lane, punishing Keen very heavily, even though Move was there. So they were definitely beating them on that 2-on-2. But up against Rush and Gate, we have seen that work out okay, but that doesn't seem like a synergy that's complete on TIP just yet. So that might be the way that C9 actually wins that matchup.
Yep, that's kind of the combo I'll be looking at as well. You have Incarnation, the guy who we have said who has stepped up, struggled in the beginning of the season or split, what have you. It's kind of the same story for Rush. He was having trouble with lane swaps when he first came in, and then has now grown to this part. So you have those two new guys, like you said, with the combo. High is going to be for Incarnation, as well as the other side. So it's just going to be absolutely amazing, and I think a volatile mid lane, as we saw in Game 5.
Oh, yeah, volatile mid lane. Jungler attention is definitely going to be around there at the start, but there is always that top lane matchup you got to watch out for. What's Impact going to be able to do here? And his Ball's going to make another name for himself and get back into that top mid laner slot.
It's going to be amazing. That's what we're saying. It's going to be a good game. Make sure you're here tomorrow. Cloud9 versus Impulse. Yes, I almost said Impact. Impulse.
Well, they are versus Impact.
That's right. Let's send it out to our analyst desk to close out our first day of coverage.
Thank you, gentlemen. I got the crew back on the desk to close out the day here. A 3-2 reverse sweep for Cloud9. Trashy. It deviated slightly from your original script, but it came together by the end. How does it? You've got to feel good.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I was right from the beginning.
Just full confidence.
Dane's
Full confidence.
playing together.
I mean, obviously, when you go into a matchup like this, there's one Dane on one of the teams, and there's no Danes on the other team.
Simple math.
So, I mean, it's obvious who's going to win.
Is that how the regular season goes for enemy?
Okay. It's two Danes. It's two opposites, not making.
I hear
You can't
We
overload.
were just a bit unlucky.
In all seriousness, though, let's get some final thoughts on this series, particularly for Cloud9 as they're going to continue moving forward. Freak, let's start with you.
Okay, so Cloud9 moving forward. Honestly, it.
That was such a dramatic pause. Well, you can't do that to us.
I mean, I'm honestly very not convinced by this series. It felt like Gravity really fell apart by the end. They won Game 3 by Keaton getting caught. They won Game 4 by the comp making no sense. They won Game 5 by Gravity's comp not really making any sense either. C9 did well in Champs League at the very end of the series. They're playing pretty solid. Trash hates Amumu. High swears by it. Maybe it's bad. Maybe it's good.
Swears it's good.
He swears it's good. I mean,
think
we
it's
were
good
seeing
too,
glimmers of hope,
in
but
some instances.
yeah, I think C9 shot themselves in the foot a little bit the first two games. They played much more normal the next three. I like that High's bringing out crazy stuff and it's working for him. His Shyvana was ban worthy. I agree, right? Like the Kha'Zix was okay.
Yeah, full damage Kha'Zix being normal.
Okay, it was okay. Like whatever. I don't know. C9 seems like the scene we saw at the end of the split. They're pretty good. They're a roughly playoff level team, but like 3-2 over Gravity is not exactly like the biggest praise.
And even as High was saying right here, if they can't beat Impulse and Team Liquid, they don't feel like they deserve to go to Worlds. And it's because it's actually a significant step up when you're playing against those two teams versus this series that we saw right here. Even the third place match at Madison Square Garden, even though Team Liquid won 3-1, Team Impulse had some really strong plays within that series. And there's going to be some picks that Cloud9 is going to have to be ready for. Soraka is a big one. That could be a ban they don't have access to unless they have strategies against it.
Yeah, I think that's a very accurate.
Yeah. And I also want to bring up another point about Impulse is that I don't think High will have the same amount of time to just ramp up his farm against the likes of Rush. I'm pretty sure Rush will just force something and pressure the map. So High has to do something on the other side or react to what Rush is doing. So it's going to be a whole different series. But I mean, I called the 9-0. So
Yeah,
I mean,
so they gotta win 3 in a row now.
Yeah, now he's got to follow through.
Yeah. I find this one interesting thing is there's one severe mismatch for each team. I think like Balls and Sneaky and Lemon match up pretty close against Impact and Apollo and Adrian, but Rush is way better than High at jungling, and Incarnation is really aggressive and way better at mid lane than Gate. And that those are going to be two matches that I think are automatically tipped very heavily, and I'm very curious to see how they play out in the match.
All right. Do you have a feeling as to which of those mismatches will come out the greater?
I really think Rush is going to, like, destroy the game. Like, Gate managed to, like, survive pretty damn well against Phoenix and Co., whereas Rush, like, was routinely getting early game leads, and I don't know if C9 can come back from that.
After all, he is our regular season MVP, so that is a tall order for High moving into the next one. Let's pull up our playoff bracket to see who is standing in between Cloud9 and the World Championship. Today, Cloud9 successfully vanquished Gravity and now advance to face Team Impulse in tomorrow's best of 5. The winner of that series will move on to face off against our third place squad, Team Liquid. We'll be bringing you that coverage immediately following the European coverage of Rocat versus Origin. That all starts tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight, 5 p.m. Central European Summertime. Of course, before we wrap up our day one coverage, we want to check back in on Twitter and the Golden Age relics that you've been sharing over on Twitter in honor of our new champions, CLG. We start with @CrashBrash84, who puts it pretty succinctly. I waited for this for over 2 years.
Yeah, and they probably waited a pretty long time in line to get that picture as well.
Oh my goodness, those lines were they just went forever.
Yeah.
I actually never made it because we were lucky enough to go down and also interact with people, and I never made it to the back of the line, so I don't know how far it actually went. It was a little ridiculous. And Burkhardt CJ has uncovered the secret to CLG's power. The bigger the fro, the higher they'll go.
True.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, it's his playoff haircut. I think he said he might not cut it until after Worlds.
Until they
wonder
lose a series
I wonder
or
if he
something
sticks
like that,
to that because Afro is only going to become more powerful.
I'm not gonna lie, a piece of
think
me
it's
is a
to
little,
lose a game.
I'm a little jelly. I wish I could do something.
Just keep growing your hair.
You know what's amazing is it came out of nowhere.
It requires more hair.
I mean, it came out of his scalp.
What?
So, I mean...
Thank you, Freak.
Dash, I was, how much you know
until
about-
today, I was unaware of
Andrew
how this ended up on top of my head.
You actually just have a toupee. It's just you glue it on every morning.
Don't give people that misconception. All right, one of our favorite those submissions came from @DotSwap, whose CLG Jinx skin will have a lot of people cheering for them at Worlds. And I mean, the only thing I have to say about this is that it is pretty sweet.
I'd play that skin.
I would absolutely play that skin. Mm-hmm. It makes you wonder, Mattcom is an artist who has gotten a few of his skins into our game. I know he's been pretty vocal about if
He wants to design the CLG skin.
If CLG were to clinch the finals at Worlds, that he would be pretty adamant about having a hand in designing those skins, and I would love to see him.
I would want to see him troll his team, and it's Zion Spartan, Maokai, you get Sejuani over there in the jungle, you get some Sivir for double. If you just give everyone their least favorite champions and say, here you go, guys, there's your victorious skins.
You would, Freak.
I would want to see them get trolled.
That would be exactly
what I like to see.
Would want. Alrighty, well, we want to extend a special thanks to our guest analyst Trashy for sharing his expertise and teaching Freak how to swear in Danish.
That's not true.
Wait, I did that?
Yeah, he didn't. See, you're just lying now.
Well, you lied too. I don't know. Who can play this game?
What did I lie about?
About Dash's
my hair,
toupee.
my toupee.
Oh, you're right.
It happened a minute ago. Come on.
All right, I might have lied about that.
That's enough. We're starting to go delirious. So for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We have a best of 5 on our hands. Let's see what kind of fight Gravity and Cloud9 can put up here in North America. I'm not gonna get to tell this story. All's going deep. Oh, another shot. Oh, one more shot. He goes down, unfortunately. Gets the Q off the last auto. Minion. Oh! It doesn't matter if he knocked him away that time. Perseverance pays off for Gravity.
Karma. Sorry.
I stopped Trace.
Trace and no W.
Yo, I'm here. Can you Trace?
Trace. Nice.
Gives himself the give and go to get to safety. That's the ult against the wall. High was the only one not included. Sneaky and High, about 400 combined health. Gravity 2-0 for Cloud9.
But if I did that, I brought a lawn chair to LCS. Just put it down behind you guys for Needed Pix fans.
That'd be sick, dude.
We all carry in a sofa. That'd be dope.
Coming into this game 3, you are down 2-0. You have to reverse sweep to keep your dream of Worlds alive.
Looks like they are still fighting. That fight went so bad for them with the rotation of Incarnation from the mid lane. Gonna keep them themselves alive here. Zeroed out with the shockwave. The ball movement was not known. Keeps the dream of Worlds alive. Cloud9 really want this game. tech as well, one after the other. Keen, however, walks out of the base, and nobody else wanted to leave home on that one. Cloud9's going to be jumping in. Cloud9 and Gravity are going to a game 5. Oh no, the Shen! That's going to be the last bit of damage. Keen again, using all resources to try and get a kill. And they're still able to take him down. A double kill coming in for Sneaky. That's a kill already for Incarnation on the fight as High picks one up for himself. First gauntlet game of the North American Summer Split. Cloud9 are moving on to take